Now, let me come to Mr. Shum, but before that, Ijoma, you have a couple of tweets.
Oh, yeah, just to say that people are not, they don't seem to be deterred, but someone is not happy. This is Okudiri, hashtag the verdict. We traveled miles to vote. By Friday, we shall get on the road again. We will never be discouraged. Everybody come out and elect the leader of your choice. And Ayodeji, hashtag I am ready, hashtag the verdict, let's go. And we also have from Ngwala Peter, and he says that how I happen to give up collecting my PVC because of the distance from my home. That's sad.
That indeed is sad. Let's hope that at some point, maybe after the elections, he can pick this up. Now, Mr. Shomi, we were discussing security. We had moved this issue of security a bit forward. And you heard what Mr. Anya talked about with reference to the materials. Because some materials had already gone to the field. Because the postponement came so late. So many materials had gone to the field. But INEC says, and they did show, they took journalists to some of those places to witness the return of those materials to the CBN offices in the various states and so on, and to say that when next they're going out, they will be shown not to have been tampered with before they are dispatched in the presence of all those stakeholders. Do you have confidence that that will indeed be the case?
Well, I would have to try and believe in INEC because we don't have any other alternative to what is on the ground now. We can't dissolve the commission. You can't reconstitute it. It's too late. You can't even fire those staff currently. It's too late because the whole plan is put together by a group of people. It's not just by one person or the chairman saying do it this way, do it that way. And they also have their own system which they've been working on all along. So therefore, one would be tempted to think that INEC would get it right in terms of the distribution of those materials, taking them to the appropriate places. One common problem which we may encounter if you don't get this cooperation of other supporting arms like the Nigerian police force or the army or those who are to escort those materials. If they fail to arrive in time, then those conveying those materials will not leave with the materials, to the different places, polling units. So that is a major source of concern. It's right to be concerned about INEC, but it all does not depend on INEC alone. It depends on the IG also assuring us that, look, police officers, or if it's soldiers, if it's civil defense that will accompany those materials, will be at the right place and at the right time. Otherwise, there'll be some delay. Don't forget, election can be free, fair, credible, but not peaceful. And yes, because the peaceful aspect is security work. It's not INEC's responsibility. So in terms of securing those materials, we should be talking more to the IG, to assure the nation that, look, those materials will be safe and officers will be available at the right time to convey them to different places.
But Mr. Shawme, do you believe that a new set of materials should be used, not these ones that have either been, whether they've been exposed partially or in a little way? Do you think they should have a fresh set, which is what some people are saying, even though that could pose a logistics problem? But for the fact that they went and then they have to now come back, some people have seen them. So should it be a fresh set of materials for those areas?
Well, I don't think so. I will tell you why, because we will be walking into a very difficult situation. It will end up leading to staggered elections. Because you need, first and foremost, you need to appropriate money in order to do new sets of voting materials. And that means they need to submit a budget to National Assembly, except they've envisaged this situation and padded their budget, which I don't think so. The people in INEC are gentlemen, distinguished gentlemen. Those are the people working in INEC. So if they have not done so, if you now say you need new set of materials, the first problem is you won't have the election in 3 months. One, we need to get the National Assembly to approve a supplementary budget as quick as possible. It has to go to tender through due process. That has its own time limitations before you award it. So it means we may not even have the election before May. So it's almost impossible. So we can't even think about that. What we should be thinking about is those who will vote using those materials, are properly accredited and they have their PVCs. The machines to use, the card readers are functioning, and then they're able to cast their ballot. And then when people cast their votes, they should, stay around so that it's counted. And they can, the people will see the results. Anyway, the polling agents will know what the result is.
But they should stay around peacefully.
They should stay around peacefully.
Yeah.
No trouble, no commotion, no conflict. Nobody should try and snatch ballot boxes. In fact, the presence of the voters, around that area, deters talk anyway. So that would be helpful to the police. But what we need more is assurance from the Nigerian police force to say that, look, we police officers, or whether it's soldiers or civil defense, will be available at, the point of collection. That is very crucial, because if they don't collect them in time, then INEC will not be at the polling unit in time.
And then the entire process will
precisely.
Then be delayed.
That is the major concern on security.
Now, going back to Abuja, Mr. Ojinika, I'm sure you've listened to both Mr. Shomi and Mr. Anya Etuk. And, of course, your optimism was a lot more visible when you talked about the fact that people shouldn't worry. It looks like it's going to be okay and all of that. But with this issue of security, someone did tell us on this program last week that all the focus about the election is on INEC being the main agency, but that there are other agencies which could prove even more fatal depending on how they act to this election. One of them are one of those groups identified then were the security agencies. Do you have that same sunny optimism about those agencies?
I don't. If the security agencies will make or mar this forthcoming election, the problem we have we had of burning down of INEC facility in Anambra State was something that was very, very suspicious. Up till now, no arrest. We have not had people that these people have been arrested or arraigned, or this actually was the cost this. And this is in a location where that is meant to be secured. And somebody will ask, why Anambra State, of all states? Anambra is very unique in the sense that it has the highest number of registered voters in the southeast, and the vice presidential candidate of PDP is from there. Is it that such a state that the INEC facilities there will be burned down? And up till now, so it's we don't have a lot of trust and confidence, and we have had series of meetings with the security agencies, and I can tell you, we have never felt encouraged each time after those consultations. There was one that the Peace Committee, the National Peace Committee, invited all the security chiefs. They briefed us. At the end of the day, we are not as satisfied as we ought to be. Most of these regulations that are coming up now by tomorrow or by the day of election, you may see agents of political parties who will have access, whereas others are stopped, others are blocked. These are issues. So we'll still have to keep pleading, just like our colleague said. The only thing we need to do now is to appeal to the consciences and then this thing of our security chiefs, not to be partisan, to make sure that they're very diligent. We don't have another police force that we can call our own other than the Nigerian police force. We're not going to get people from anywhere in the world to come and secure our electoral facilities. It is still them that have to secure our. So we still have to plead with them. We still have to tell them that we don't have any other country other than Nigeria. So we want to urge all the security chiefs, be it Army, Air Force, Navy, and all of them, civil defense, everybody should please perform their duties and as if this is a national call. This is something that can make or mar this country. So this is the time to be on the side of the nation. It is not on the side to be on the part of any government or any political party. Nigeria first. So at the same time, if we are urging the security chiefs, we're also urging all the other people that will be involved in this election, especially the ad hoc staff, the lecturers that will serve as collation officers. We don't want a situation where somebody will juggle figures and all the rest of them. So once all the other people involved in this election perform their role, I think, and also the political parties should live up to the expectations. From the explanation that INEC gave, I'm sure tomorrow also the chairman will brief the nation more about it, but he has also briefed the political parties. Tomorrow they are going to do audit in all the CBNs in the country, in all the places where these materials have been returned. All the people who were there when these materials were released will come back again, all the political party agents will come back again to do an audit on those materials to ensure that it was those materials that were released that were returned back. And it is only when that stage is passed that they can now plan of how now talk of going into distribution of those materials for the election. So it's important that everybody play their role. The political parties, all the agents should take their job very serious. Being an agent is not just a tea party. It's something that they have to take serious. The security agencies will do their job. The ad hoc staff, everybody. Once we do that, I think the commitment and the zeal and the consultative spirit we have seen in the INEC as of today, let everybody pray and be on the side of INEC. I'm sure they are going to deliver.
Now, Mr. Echok, you heard Mr. Ojinika say that, he attended some of the briefings with security agencies and didn't come out of those briefings feeling any more secure. What would you like to see in terms of specifics? Because usually we talk about security in general terms. The security agencies should be alive to their responsibilities. What would make you as a voter more safe when you get to that polling booth?
Okay, I think a good starting point is what Mr. Showomi talked about, which is having the security personnel come in on time to be able to escort the materials and to be able to set up. I think that starting with timeliness and a respect for the process that we're about to, embark on, I think that is critical as a starting point. But I think what we would also want to see is an openness and a willingness to be identified. And what I mean by that is to have a system where the security operatives are accountable to the people. So for instance, there have been whispers or rumors or murmurs of, one or two personnel who were perhaps hooded and things like that. We want to be able to identify people. We want to be able to see their badge numbers. We want to be able to see them in their proper attires. We want to be able to see them positioned wherever they should be. We want to see that all they're doing is monitoring and keeping the peace, as opposed to, being some sort of a gateway and then determining who gets in that gate or not. I think once we see that, it gives us a discernible level of comfort and confidence that security personnel are there to aid the process, not to influence it in any way, shape, or form. But I think the critical thing lies not just with this election in a couple of days or the ones after that. I think it's a process where the security, outfits are looking to remain neutral while we salute them for their service. To those in the Army, the Navy, in wherever they may be, we want to salute them for their service and their sacrifice. But we also want to see that running up to these events and subsequently that there is a desire to be part of that process of leadership, part of that process of good governance for the Nigerian people. I think if we have that prior to, if we do not have any stains or hints of partisan leanings in any way or any direction, I think that creates a general mood for the Nigerian, man or woman who is voting to say, these guys are on our side and they're here to deliver this. I think that would then be critical. But for the day, it's timeliness, it's proper arrangement, and it's a willingness to be accountable and to engage.